All right. Hey, Dylan, what's the difference between the bird flu and the swine flu?
What?
One requires treatment, the other requires an ointment.
You're an ass. Our podcast needs a tweakment and an ointment. Sure as hell does. But welcome to the DQ Frenzy. Dylan Shields, Quinn Schmiedel. Quinn, what do we have here?
Well, first of all, we have you wearing a Pirate shirt and me wearing a Phillies shirt.
What?
That's
I
crazy.
wonder which team's doing better.
Yeah, but we're on a football show, so that's kind of weird, though. But anyway, that's
Pirates. Sell the team, Nutting.
Well, today, yeah.
Well, we have chill vibes and cold takes. That's what I was trying to get you to say.
But
you don't even remember our slogan. You're fired.
Wow, I was more excited about our non-coordinated MLB shirts, but you know what? We do have chill vibes and cold takes.
We do. And we have a new graduate. Hey, it's me.
Look at him. He's graduated.
I finally got the hell out of college after 5 years, and for now I'm working. No disrespect to Walmart, but a shitty job. But looking for a big boy job. That's why we were busy this past week and a half or so, because I've had a hectic week of moving out. I'm back at the house in Pittsburgh, PA, the best city in PA. No response from Quinn.
Well,
no interruptions. Anyway, but yes, it was a great weekend. I appreciate everybody. And Quinn was a big help along the ride, so appreciate you. And yeah, big boy job coming down the line, hopefully. And maybe it'll be a professional podcast where it gets streamed to millions and millions of views. We're going to beat the McAfee show. We're going to be more popular than them.
Yeah.
But Quinn, we missed a lot, and we got a lot to catch up on. That's the one thing I feel bad for, is a lot of these news are not like old, but it's trending towards a week. So sometimes people get tired of like, oh, we already heard about people's takes. I don't give a shit. We're still going to talk about these rumors.
Yeah, you didn't hear our takes, which are unique and cold vibes.
And chill. And also, too, we don't yell like Mel Kiper or Stephen A. like, it's blasphemous or anything like that for no reason. We actually are concise and give reasonable takes. But this is the big one we have to talk about here. Derek Carr, who was potentially, if he had surgery, was going to be out for the season. Well, he's out forever because he has retired from the NFL at the age of 34 after a 10-year career. I mean, it's kind of like a half shocking, half not, because we knew Derek Carr had more years behind than ahead of him, but this just kind of came out of the blue post-draft. You don't see retirements happen that often out of nowhere, but Quinn, what's your take on this retirement and your outlook on Derek Carr's career?
Ridiculous. No. Yeah, it's not entirely surprising. Kudos to him for actually retiring early and not like, I'm going to play till I'm 50 and I'm going to keep on losing games with the New York Jets or something like that. That wasn't intentional shade at Rodgers or anything. I just chose a crappy team. But yeah, it's not entirely surprising. It's like, oh, what do you know? Wow. Okay. All right. I mean, okay. And then I move on with my day.
Do you think, I mean, it's kind of like a reach of a question, but do you think he's a Hall of Famer or getting close?
Ridiculous! Of course not. He's trash. No. I don't think so. I don't think he's won enough in terms of like playoff success or anything. I don't think he has this, like, Drew Brees didn't win. He won one Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
He's in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, he's in the Hall of Fame because he's just great at being a quarterback. Mm-hmm. Efficiency. Derek Carr, I don't think, had enough of an argument with his stats too. I mean, the Raiders didn't really go anywhere. His stats were fine. I mean, some years he had good years, but still, like, how many playoff wins does he have?
He's never won the playoffs from what I remember.
Exactly. So, yeah, I would say not Hall of Fame. Sorry, Carr, but
way better than his brother. And then hopefully if he moves to TV, he'll be better than his brother too.
he had
But
a brother.
yeah, I know. No, you kids don't remember David Carr, the good old days when he was ass. But yeah, I mean, he's definitely not first ballot, and probably most likely not just because of success, like a lack of. But in terms of the Raiders' stats, he's probably their best quarterback ever that the Raiders have ever had. They had Kent Stabler back in the 70s. That was a Hall of Famer, but he was a completely different game and era back then. But Carr, by far, was the best QB they had in years. Again, you kids, you meddling kids of Gen Alpha don't remember
Ugh.
prime 2016 Derek Carr. He was projected to win MVP at one point, and then he got hurt like a few weeks before the postseason, and then he was out for the playoffs, and they got blown out by, I think, like the Texans or something. And his only playoff game, I think, was the year the Bengals went to the Super Bowl, 2021, and they played Cincy and kept it close, and Cincy ended up winning. But the Raiders played pretty good. That wasn't Carr's best year, though, when he was in the playoffs. 2016 was by far his best year. Like, his early years, statistically, were his most consistent. And he's not a bad quarterback by all. He was serviceable. And, like, he was a good franchise QB for a few years. But the moment that Cincy game in the playoffs happened, and then they hired Josh McDaniels as their coach, Carr's career just went downhill. Got traded to the Saints, and I mean, I think I was one of those that thought it would work out better than it did. It didn't work out at all. Carr and Chris Olave were like water and oil together. They just had no chemistry at all. It just didn't work in New Orleans. And even if he didn't retire, his time in New Orleans would have probably been done, and he would have just been a Ryan Fitzpatrick 2.0 journeyman. I mean, he seems like a good dude. Never forget, like, the eye black that he wears and just that menacing face that he made on the sideline. He gave us great memes. Like, congrats on your retirement. I mean, this isn't nearly as bad as, like, Andrew Luck, who I still feel so bad for. That was probably one of the just most heartbreaking retirements. Like, Carr at least got to play a little bit longer than Luck, but they're similar in terms of likable personalities, and they retired quicker than we expected. But congrats on your retirement, Carr, and the Steelers owned your ass for years. But still,
wow.
we respect you and wish you the best, man. Congrats, Carr.
I do want a quick note that when you said Gen Alpha and I scoffed, I wasn't scoffing at those particular people. I was scoffing at the thing of now that we just have a thing where it went from boomers and now we have to label every, like, 15 years of people being born. Anyway.
Oh, I would scoff at Gen Alpha. I hate our generation. I'm not looking forward to this, being born with AI and getting phones at 5 years old. But anyway, that's for our political podcast that'll come out. No, it's not. It's not coming out anytime soon. At least stay tuned. Anyway, we got to go from a nice guy retiring to a total D-bag. I'm sorry, but in George Pickens, and he has officially been traded to your Dallas Cowboys. Jerry Jones did something. There was maybe a reason why Dallas really didn't draft a receiver early in the draft. It was because they had this in plan the whole time, it seemed like. And I think the moment DK Metcalf came here, Pickens' time was running out. Even if he would have played his last year, he would have been done after that. They weren't going to extend him with the inconsistency and personality. I think this is a good move for Dallas if they can control Pickens. Because when Pickens doesn't want to just go all Floyd Mayweather, Mike Tyson on everyone's ass when a play's happening, you've probably seen all the memes on TikTok, Instagram of like, oh, Big Ben throws or not Big Ben, like touchdown by Dak Prescott. Meanwhile, George Pickens, it's just like a boxing match or something. But if they can control his personality, I think Pickens and CD is a pretty good duo. And I think this is a suitable role for Pickens to succeed. Not to be the guy, but to be the second guy, the second receiver. He's not the best route runner, but he's a deep threat. And that's a perfect receiver too. While CD has all the traits. He had a little bit too much pressure on him. I said it on the TikTok. He had a little bit too much pressure on him in Pittsburgh being the guy and trying to be receiver one. It just didn't cut out for him. And Dallas got a pretty, their Steelers didn't get much of a return. It was only a next year's 3rd round pick and a 2027 5th round pick. You felt like you could have at least got a second for him. But, I mean, we had Chase Claypool, we got a 2nd rounder from him, and we didn't for Pickens. That's all you need to know about that. But I think the Steelers needed to cut cancer. But like I said in the video, it's a trend. And it's it's not just a Tomlin problem, but it's an organization problem of they need to stop drafting receivers with these personalities or they need to handle them better.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is exciting and probably a good move for Dallas.
Puke in your mouth saying that?
Yeah, that's what I was doing. But I don't know. From what I've seen and everything I've seen with Pickens, he can make some very good sideline catches and contested catches. And he can be a good deep threat, but consistently, I didn't see him performing. And it's not exactly like a so scary move to me personally as an Eagles fan. Obviously, yeah, another weapon is good, and he has the talent. But from when we played the Steelers, when you guys had him, I didn't remember. Oh yeah, Pickens carved us up for 200 yards and 2 touchdowns or anything. It's just yeah, he was there. Do I remember anything about him doing anything? Not really, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, it seems almost like the Commanders bringing in Debo. Kind of like a bit of I'd say Debo is more of a diva than a douchebag like Pickens is. And I don't know. It seems kind of somewhat comparable moves. I'd say Debo's more talented because he had that one really good year, but still, it almost seems like, oh, you have these guys with potential, but are they actually going to perform? Seems more likely to be no than yes. So, I mean, it's a good move. I think he can be a good wide receiver too. I think he might be better off. I don't know. I'd almost say 3 because of just that unique catchability he has, but then he seems like he has too much talent for a 3, but maybe if the Cowboys get another number 2, I don't know. He'll make the team better, I think, but his off the field issues aren't going to help at Jerry World where everyone can watch the Cowboy. I forget who was talking about it, but some player said feels like you're in a zoo or a circus or a reality TV show. I think it was, and it's just oh, everyone's around. It has that kind of atmosphere about it. Everyone's watching you, media, all that, and that's not gonna that in my opinion, from what I know, is not going to help a diva behavior issue kind of player become better and more grounded. The only thing that would do that is other players there, but it's still going to be an uphill struggle already because Pittsburgh isn't really a place that encourages that so much. The diva players can be that way, but it's hard, nose to the grindstone football. Jerry Rhodes is kind of oh, look, everyone loves us. We're the Cowboys. We make the money. Oh, yeah. And, yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see him implode in Dallas and cause a whole bunch of drama and issues. That'll be fun. That'll be a great time, actually. But, yeah, and I'll just say with the Steelers' return, definitely disappointing for your arguably number 1 wide receiver before you traded for Metcalf. But then I think it was a matter of get this guy out of here. He's trash. Like they did with Claypool, AB, and so on and so forth.
Well, it was ironic that you said that Cowboys are kind of a reality show circus because I felt like the Steelers back then and the 3 Bs, or triple B days were kind of like that. They were kind of like a circus. It was weird because, yes, Tomlin was a hard-nosed, old-school team, but Big Ben, AB, and Bell kind of brought a flashy style to Pittsburgh. And ever since, we've just been having drama after drama. I mean, AB, Martavis Bryant, if anyone remembers him, was a diva. I mentioned Chase Claypool was a diva. Even Deontay had a rough falling out with the Steelers. Why? What is with the Steelers receivers? I think you can only blame it on the guy for so long. Either it's their fault for picking them in the first place because they just didn't care about the personality and was just all about the talent, or by Tomlin and the staff just cannot handle them. You think Bill Belichick would have let Pickens do the shit he did? No, he would have been cut the moment he started fighting someone. When that Commanders game, when he was like punching people after he dropped the ball, Bill Belichick would have either benched him the next game or cut his ass. So, yeah, it's intriguing for Dallas, but I'm kind of glass half full or glass half empty type of reaction where it's like, well, it could be good if Pickens kept his damn mouth shut, but I don't know if that's going to happen. But it's certainly the best quarterback Pickens will ever have. He kind of got robbed of that. I mean, he had Kenny, who was inconsistent as hell. Mason Rudolph, who had like 3 good games. Might have Mason again this year. Well, the team might have Mason this year. It was rough. It was rough for George. Like Wilson was the only one he sort of had chemistry with, but if you had him in fantasy, he was frustrating to own. And my man Big Ben kind of described the George Pickens trade in two words for the Steelers that I think sums it up perfectly. It's a culture win. It is. It's a culture win to get that toxicity out. But still concerning. Cowboys still suck, though. They'll get crushed in week 1. We'll get to the schedule release in a second. But, yeah, George Pickens about to get blown up by that Eagles secondary week 1 in front of millions, and that's going to be exciting to see. So don't let the door hit the ass on the way out, George. All right. We might as well get right into it, Quinn. I know you were very excited about it. I was too. The NFL schedule release.
Actually, I have 2 pieces of news before that.
Never mind. Go ahead.
Change it up. These are kind of like interesting things. I'll save the second thing for last because
I just realized I forgot one of them. Sorry.
This might be one that we talked about, might not be. So we might have 3 pieces of news, but apparently the NFL is discussing flag football for the 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles. So, of course, now there's speculation about who would be on our flag football team, what's going to go on, but I don't know. It seems like an interesting idea. It already isn't huge at the Pro Bowl. I mean, it's kind of interesting and fun, but it's still not.
It ain't track and field, man. It ain't
but
track.
It's not Olympics. It's a fun backyard or like, what's going to go on? But
it ain't swimming. It ain't Michael Phelps prime swimming.
Yeah, and it feels kind of lame. All these other Olympians are like, not to say NFL players aren't trying really hard at their sport, but this isn't really their sport. Flag football isn't football. It feels like kind of a silly thing to throw in there, like breakdancing and how horribly that failed with the girl just like.
I knew you were going to mention that one girl.
Just having a spaz attack on the ground, I guess. Something.
Seizure.
I don't know. Yeah.
Hey,
but yeah, Dylan.
Gymnastics people are badasses, though. Simone Biles is a bad person. She's really good.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, you have the gymnastics and the talent, and then you have, like, the breakdancing. And, breakdancing, I'm not super experienced with it or watch it in my free time, I have to admit. But I'm sure there's some really impressive, cool stuff they can do. But, like, what was at the Olympics...
Try one.
No, I'm good. But what was at the Olympics was not impressive. So, I don't know. I think this is a bit silly. I hope they don't do it. It's just kind of... ridiculous. Do you have any thoughts about that, Dylan? Big D?
Well, I can't believe you just said that. I'm kicking you off. It might be more fun to watch if it's other nations that are doing it rather than just NFL players, because there are NFL players all across the world. It'd be interesting. I was automatically thinking if Tyree could stop having all these kids and staying out of trouble and he's still active in football, maybe even if he's still retired, he'd be my first overall pick in this flag football. He is the perfect flag football player. But again, stop having kids, man. Anyway, but it's intriguing. But yeah, it's not something I'm going to be like you said, jumping at my TV. Oh my God, I got to watch this. Like, this is kind of the summertime where I'm not saying I'm tired of football, but we're used to not seeing football. Like, the Olympics is cool. You only see the sport every 4 years. So it's cool to see, like, track and field, swimming, gymnastics, breakdancing, like, rowboating. Like, there's all types of cool events in not just outdoor like summer, but Winter Olympics too. So yeah, I just think it's kind of weird. I think baseball is supposed to be in it too, I believe. That's a little more intriguing, but than football. But yeah, kind of just like So
Yeah.
not really passionate about it. But Quinn, I'll interrupt you because I remembered the one segment. I'm pretty sure you were going to mention it. My bad. This is why I'm so professional, but it's about Caleb Williams. Now, this is a rumor, apparently. So we don't know if this is fact, but this came out today. Apparently, Caleb Williams and his dad tried to avoid playing for the Chicago Bears. And it was off of, I think, Caleb Williams' father's new book that came out because Caleb Williams' father just can't keep his damn mouth shut. And he said in his book that Chicago is the place quarterbacks go to die. That's a quote. He's not wrong. I mean, the Bears have ever had a Hall of Fame quarterback? Not really. Unless you think Jay Cutler's a Hall of Famer, but I don't think so. But man, for his dad to say that when he's still on the team and he's only on year 2, what are you doing? Like, you might risk Caleb losing the locker room off of this. He's going to lose, his fan base because of that. How are Chicago fans going to feel now that the guy he's supposed to be the guy never wanted to come to you?
How is the Pope going to feel?
Oh, he's been betrayed. He sinned. He sinned. That's congratulations to him, by the way. First ever American Pope. Shout out.
Yeah. Let's go.
And I think he was a White Sox fan too. So sorry for your loss there. But yeah, I mean, it was like if I'm Caleb himself, I'm pissed. Like, why would you say this stuff? I mean, I think we've kind of known Caleb Williams' father. I think before the draft that he was picked in. Kind of was like, oh, kind of like a Dion a little bit. Like, oh, I have preferences.
Yeah, we don't want to go to.
It's like, let your son make the decisions, dude. It's not all about you. The second year in a row, we've gotten a meddling father that wants to control his kid's life. But, yeah, it's just stupid to me. It's stupid for him to say that when he's still on the team. Maybe if Caleb Williams was, like, long retired or off the team, he could have said that. He's in year 2 in the league. What are you doing?
Yeah, it's a bit ridiculous, and like I understand
ridiculous.
Like yeah, I don't want to like yeah, if I was a player, I wouldn't want to play for a bad team, but it's the NFL holds a whole lot more money, influence, and just power overall than one guy who could be good, who might be just bad, and like. Yeah, obviously you don't want to play for a bad organization, but you play where you end up playing, and it just sucks if it sucks, you know? But, yeah, it's kind of ridiculous, and it's kind of weird that it comes out now. It just seems like very poor timing, but it's actually not the other thing I was going to mention.
Oh, thank God I said it.
Yeah, so, and what's interesting is I was just thinking, oh, Dylan, you can go, and then, because it's not going to be the thing that I'm going to talk about, but it worked out perfectly because now there's an article talking about the Colts apologizing to Tyreek Hill about
that's right.
their schedule release.
God.
So in the Colts schedule release video for their game against the Dolphins, the video was a spoof of Minecraft. And it made fun of Tyreek Hill in the clip where it showed, oh, look, we're playing the Dolphins this week. It showed a dolphin wearing a Tyreek Hill jersey being stopped by a U.S. Coast Guard boat with a blaring siren. This was later deleted. This is also the opener game for both teams on September 7th. But, yeah, making fun of the time where Tyreek Hill got pulled over, had some drama with the cops before going to a game. I forget what game it was. It was in Miami. But... yeah, and him trying to make it sound like they, bad cops, so they're, crooked, and then it turned out he was just asshole. So, yeah, very interesting. I mean, I like the bold take the Colts go out of, like, let's make fun of this guy for being a douchebag, and then, like, deleting it, because I guess the boss found out and was like, you're fired. So, yeah, very interesting. I think it's funny. I think there's also some issues because Minecraft game had Microsoft, owned by Microsoft, and Microsoft is therefore associated with that. So that's probably some minor issues, but I think it's funny. I like it.
I think so too. I think people need to stop having the thinnest of skins ever. I've heard conflicting rumors that Tyreek liked it and that he didn't, so I don't know what's true. I mean, it wasn't like I joked about his kids earlier. It wasn't like that. It was like a police thing that happened last year. Like, I mean, I'm just shocked the team did that, but and you said like, oh, the boss found out. I think that owner Jim Irsay was all that seems like Jim Irsay written all over that joke. He's that type of guy who just doesn't give a shit. Like Jim Irsay's just the type of dude to just get high off of weed during a game and just sit back and just not care about what his team does. And that's why Colts fans can't stand him. And I can't either. But he seems like that type of dude to pull that joke in. Like, good for you, Colts team PR, and screw whoever told them to take it down because, yeah, I mean, take a joke. Take a joke. I mean, it's a lighthearted joke because Tyreek right now, at least, like, he's still alive and breathing, like, he's good. Like, let's just, like, look at the Tom Brady roast. Like, that was way more brutal than a little few-second joke, so.
Yeah. And Family Guy certainly does worse, but.
Oh, my God. They are like, oh, you should see their jokes. They could cross the line sometimes. I just realized, too, I had one more. It's like a quick thing.
Breaking news.
It's about Henry Ruggs, and apparently I think Josh Jacobs said, like, in an interview that, like, he's training to go back to the NFL. I think he gets released or could in, like, a year or, like, maybe a couple years, and they're saying, like, he hopes to play in the NFL, and Jacobs is kind of, like, wishing the best for him, and yeah, it's more of a serious matter here, but you can't let a dude that did that to a girl and a dog back in the league like that. They already have a bad reputation enough in terms of like suspensions and punishments of like awful events, but this is like as low as you can get. And Ruggs made a stupid decision and didn't get an Uber. The dude should not be rewarded by going back to the NFL. You think millions of dollars is going to look good? How do you think the families of the dog and the girl, I don't know if it was a girlfriend or just a friend, but how are they going to feel if somehow, some way he's on a TV screen again? Just no. That's the bottom line there. But do you have any intake on that?
So briefly, it looks like he could be released if he's not granted parole on July 4th of 2027. So 2 years if he's granted parole. He could be. He's first eligible for parole consideration on August 5th, 2026. There's already also articles. Former wide receiver Henry Ruggs predicted to sign with the Carolina Panthers after prison release. Blah blah blah.
If anything, he's coming to Pittsburgh probably.
Kind of ridiculous that there's already articles about he's gonna come here, he's gonna go there. But yeah, there's articles by like the New York Times. He's training in prison for a second chance in the NFL, and I don't know. It's murky waters. I mean, on one hand, like he made a bad choice. He shouldn't have been going that fast. It was very poor, but he didn't intentionally go out and like try and kill a girl. It's just unfortunate that his crash also involved a woman dying. But like he should be able, like on the other hand, he should be able to live his life after. I mean, getting out of prison, like obviously he has to make better choices with that, and I'm sure after spending 2021 5 years in jail
yeah,
he's gonna go a bit slower hopefully, or at least not drive like that when he's drunk, hopefully both honestly. But yeah, I mean, I think he should be able to do what he wants and live his life afterwards. I mean, obviously the NFL wasn't why he did this. I mean, he was drinking and of course, on his own. It's not like he was at an event or did something because he was playing for the Raiders. But I mean, I don't know. I don't really have a strong opinion. If he wants to go play, then sure. I'm not going to stop him. I mean, he has his whole life ahead of him.
I get that, but I just think it's bigger than a game. What's going on in his life? I feel like he should focus more, even if he gets released, on like I don't want to say undoing the wrongs, but like trying to be a better person. Like I think that comes first before any game. And I could maybe get the argument that football makes him mentally like happy and that's what he enjoys doing. But I mentioned earlier, like I don't think getting a contract and getting a lot of monies makes you gonna make anyone a better person at all. I just think it could honestly just make more dumb decisions. When you're young and dumb and have a lot of money, it's bound sometimes to happen. Like, yeah, he should live in his life. I'm not gonna say anything even more derogatory. I just think a little bit much on like letting him go into the league just because of like the victims, like friends and family. Like, yeah, go watch the guy that did this that killed your daughter and a dog. Go make millions of dollars and get rewarded while you're still grieving years later. I don't know how to feel about that, but I understand your point. I'm not gonna like strongly disagree or anything. It's just that's my 2 cents, but just wanted to get it out there. And Josh Jacobs shouldn't be getting any backlash for it. I think he probably did, but he's probably trying to see the best in him. They were former teammates, probably good friends. He just wants what's best for him. I don't think he should be getting any shit. Anyone that does that's ridiculous. He's sticking out. That's all. Jacobs isn't going to say anything bad about him, but we got to get back to positive light here, Quinn, because we mentioned the Colts schedule release video, and the schedule did get released. I'll be honest. In terms of the videos, I only watched the Steelers. I watched the Colts because of the Tyreek Hill one. And then I saw the Packers one with Tom Grossi as a feature and the owners and like one of the players had a nightmare or something like that. Like I only saw those three. I heard the Chargers one, I heard they never disappoint. They always kick ass because I think they do like anime style like videos. But I haven't seen a lot of them, so apologies. I don't know if you have, Quinn, but it's always fun because teams more recent years are getting pretty creative. Some hit, some miss, but some of the videos are great. I don't think the Steelers one this year with the like trying to find a Sasquatch was as good as last year's with the trying to do dad jokes with a Jack James Harrison. I don't think it's pretty hard to top that. But what did you see any, like, I didn't see Phillies. Did you see any videos?
To be honest, I completely forgot schedule release videos were a thing. I just looked at the Eagles schedule. Yeah, I know, crazy. I don't know. I don't think the schedule release is that exciting, that big of an event. I mean, obviously, we have no football, so anything football is like, oh my God, there's football! But yeah, no, I've just really kept track of some of the releases and the Eagles schedule. Some of the big games, but otherwise I haven't really been too focused on it.
Speaking of the Eagles schedule, Quinn, our first game of the NFL year is the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Dallas Cowboys. Thank you, NFL, for getting this game out the way because they just love to shove this rivalry in our face on prime time because Dallas, I mean, they were not a good team last year, albeit injuries, but I mean, what kind of mismatch is this for week one? Like, this might not be close. It's crazy. But, Quinn, I bet you like it.
Yeah, I mean, the Cowboys might be better this year. That's what everyone's saying. The Cowboys are going to be better than they were last year. And also, I mean, Dak is healthy, so that's a good start. But, yeah, I think it's going to be great. I mean, for the first time in 30 years, the Cowboys are going to be at a banner release, lowering, reveal ceremony. And, you know, it's going to be so sweet for them. But it's at the Eagles Stadium. And it's going to remind them that they suck. Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's funny. I think it should be a good, easy win for the Eagles. I know there's been talk about like, the Cowboys are America's team, but that's kind of ending out because obviously no one likes them anymore.
What do you mean they are? Because America loves to see them lose.
That's true, and people love to talk about them. And Cowboys fans are like, why are they talking about us? We suck. Like T.J. Jefferson on Rich Eisen's show. But anyway, I think it's a great opening game. I mean, I do think it's exciting. Big names. Eagles just won the Super Bowl. Cowboys had a lot of success in the past. Have the third most Super Bowls, tied for the third with the Niners, I think. Something like that. A lot of Super Bowl wins, 5, I think. So, like, Eagles, the new Super Bowl contenders in the NFC East. The old Super Bowl contenders clashing to open the season. I think it's exciting. I think it is like a fun thing to do. But I like it.
It's of course you do, but it's a rivalry. I get it. I just think maybe a matchup like the Rams or something would have been more cool. But
We just played them.
It's what it is. But Quinn, I got a list here of the international games we got this year. They are going to be going to, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 countries this year because we are going to Madrid, Spain, in Madrid for the first time ever, and we are going to Dublin, Ireland for the first time ever for the NFL. So, in Sao Paulo, Brazil, like we had last year, this year's matchup is the Chiefs against the Chargers. And it's also, Quinn, going to be streamed on YouTube. So YouTubers that are like into football, Benchwarmer Brand, could stream the game if they wanted to and like react, and we can watch the game at the same time. So that'd be pretty cool. The big game in Dublin, Ireland is my Steelers against the Vikings. It's a 9:30 game. Can't wait to get up early for that.
Interesting.
We got a couple London games here. We got the Vikings, again, back-to-back weeks. They're traveling against the Cleveland Browns. Another London game is the Broncos against the Jets. And then, of course, we have to have Jacksonville in London, right? How could we possibly not have him play in London? Travis Hunter, man, he's got to come here versus the LA Rams. I mean, the Rams-Jags is actually more intriguing, I think, than people think, just because of Hunter and Lawrence is healthy again. The other two matchups for London, take him or leave him. But in Berlin, Germany, Quinn's favorite place in the world, it's going to be the Falcons against the Colts. Way to rob Germany. Good job, guys. You better hope Anthony Richardson and Michael Penix cut out, or else. Yeah. And then in Madrid, Spain, you got the Commanders versus the Dolphins, which we'll see how Miami does. And if the Commanders, it could be
exciting.
It could be exciting if Tua doesn't get his head blown out. But what's your reaction to these international games?
Yeah, most of the England ones are kind of boring, to be honest. It'll depend on how the Jags are playing and whether it's actually a good game or not. It just depends on their season. I think the Ireland game is interesting. Steelers, Vikings, that's a good matchup. I think that could be exciting. Although then I forget that your quarterback right now is Mason Rudolph, and I'm like, oh, less exciting. But, we'll have to see what happens. Madrid, I think, could be the most exciting. Chiefs, Chargers, I don't know. Another Brazil game. It kind of robs the Chargers of a home game, which they kind of need against the Chiefs. So that's kind of lame. It's not like
they have fans anyway. They have that diehard girl that's definitely a fake planted fan last year. They barely have anybody.
The Chiefs don't need any more home games, really. I mean, they won how many Super Bowls? They could have three-peated, which they didn't. Sorry. But, they have so much success in the NFL. It's like, you know what? We're going to give away the Chargers home game against them. They don't need it anyway. They can play an Arrowhead. So, I kind of did the Chargers dirty there, to be honest. But I think the Brazil and Spain game will be the most interesting, but I'm glad they're expanding more markets. I think Ireland's interesting, Spain's interesting, but I'm a fan.
I think that's smart. I just know there's going to be games in Japan one day and
Australia.
They're definitely. There's probably going to be a team in London too coming up. I definitely think. Well, buckle up, Jacksonville. You're moving. But I also got the holiday games for you, Quinn. Thanksgiving and Christmas. Don't know why we got to do Christmas. But NFL likes that money. But Thanksgiving, we got the Packers.
Christmas without football. Anyway.
No, but we got the Packers at the Lions as our 1:00 Thanksgiving game. And then the 4:30 game is the Chiefs at the Cowboys. They're going to be the Dallas opponent. And then the primetime game is the Bengals at the Ravens. All those games look pretty intriguing to me.
Exciting.
Chiefs, Cowboys, too. I mean,
blowout.
We'll see. We'll see. But the Christmas Day games, the Dallas Cowboys at the Washington Commanders on Netflix. The 4:30 game is the Detroit Lions at the Minnesota Vikings on Netflix. That could be intriguing. And they added one more game, a primetime game, and that is the Broncos at the Chiefs. That one could be intriguing depending how Denver does, and that one's on Prime Video. Hopefully Christmas does better than last year, because whatever the hell we got last year was not wanting to spend time with your family to go watch the Steelers and Texans get blown out by the Chiefs and Ravens. So hopefully they do a little bit better here, but Thanksgiving definitely stands out to me, Quinn, but what do you think?
I think you forgot the Black Friday game, arguably one of the most important. It's the Philadelphia Eagles taking on, I believe it is the Bears. The Bears.
Definitely didn't look that up with that awkward pause.
I was looking down the schedule. I thought it was Packers, but that's a different Friday night prime time event. But no, it's the Bears Eagles. Not the most thrilling, but could be exciting with the Bears and their potential. We'll have to see how they do. But yeah, I think I'm not a fan of Christmas games. Just leave Christmas be. Like, I'm not going to watch football on Christmas, to be honest. That's not the time. And that's an example of NFL greed, which is not what Christmas is about. Anyway, so
well, for kids it is when they get gifts. We get spoiled.
Yeah, but that's not the meaning of Christmas. And fighting each other and for a game also isn't really a Christmas spirit kind of thing. So anyway,
you don't want to watch
political podcast.
You don't want to watch George Pickens punch Marshawn Lattimore in the face on Christmas Day.
No. I mean, I'll gladly watch that any other time because that's just funny because they both are kind of just a-holes. But regardless, yeah, I mean, Chiefs Cowboys could be interesting, but those Thanksgiving games are pretty good. I mean, Lions Packers is a classic. Yeah, Cowboys might get blown out by the Chiefs. I don't know. And then it was Ravens Bengals, I believe. Should be pretty good. Should be exciting. Yeah, I like it.
And the final kind of couple games I'll mention are just like intriguing matchups. Specifically, like week 1, we got the Steelers at the Jets. Boy, it's almost like the NFL's trying to rig someone going over there, some former player. I can't get it off my head. Maybe two former quarterbacks of two teams are swapping. I wonder who that could be. Please don't come here. Lions, they crushed the Packers in the first 2 weeks because they got Detroit on week 1, and then they got the Commanders on week 2. They're both home games, but man, that's kind of a brutal way to start the season, to play two of the best teams in football last year, and assuming this year they will. And then we also got for prime time, Ravens and the Bills, a rematch of the divisional round on Sunday Night Football. And then we'll have Ravens Chiefs later in the year. I believe it's around week 4 that we're getting the classic
rematch.
425, the rematch. Trying to see, are they doing Bills Chiefs? Yeah, they are. I was gonna say they always do Bills Chiefs. Yeah, Bills Chiefs, November 2nd.
Yeah, we don't see that enough.
It's the best rivalry in the league. They're gonna put it on every year. But yeah, any other games stand out to you, Quinn?
Well, of course they do. The Eagles and Chiefs play in the second week. So I'll talk about the Eagles schedule for a moment since you asked me to. So opening against the Cowboys. Okay, opening against the Cowboys, and then at Kansas City, 4:00. Then in Philly against the Rams, and then at the Buccaneers in Tampa. That's a rough 4 game stretch there. I think we'll have a pretty good winning record, but it's definitely a challenge to open the season. I like it. We play the Broncos after that too, so we have to deal with their defense. But the Eagles don't have 2 home games in a row. So, I mean, the Super Bowl champions always get one of the toughest schedules. I mean, they have the 4th toughest opponent-wise, but then they compensate by doing that. No 2 home games in a row, tough stretches of opponents. There's also a bit of a rough stretch at the end of the season when we're playing the Commanders, then the Bills, and then the Commanders. The Commanders would be the final game of the season. Although both Commanders games times are not confirmed, they could be flexed up to prime time.
Because it's
I
week
think,
18. That's why they always do that.
Yeah. So, week 16 is also a variable time slot.
Oh,
so
I didn't know that. Interesting.
Yeah. So I think they're going like, all right, who's going to win the division? And then we're going to flex and see. We can flex both the prime time if it's really close.
They're like, you both better not be ass. You better be good so we can put you on prime time.
Hopefully the Eagles already have a division. We won't have to worry about the Commanders by then. But we'll see. I think it's kind of lame putting like big games at the very end of the season. Teams don't really care that much anymore. They're likely to rest starters if they need to. Like the Commanders last week, kind of like, really, you're gonna make us play our players. Maybe get like, we didn't play Barkley last year because he might get hurt. I don't know if they're trying to push that to be like, play Barkley, get him the record. But I don't know. I think I don't like it when they put the big games at the end of the season. And then the Bills the second to last week. Also still kind of like, really? I mean, like, obviously it's getting to break time then, but I feel like most teams are like, you're either screwed for the second to last game, or like you're just barely hanging on trying to get into playoffs. And I don't know. I think bigger games are better saved for a few weeks before the end of the season. But that's just my 2 cents. I think it's kind of weird to have both Commanders games at the end of the season, very much going for, it's all going to come down to the end. Stay tuned. Seems like NFL is very greedy this year, honestly.
When are they not? But I also think, too, they just don't want to see Kenny Two Gloves try to throw a damn football because Hurts got hurt, but also has to rest because of the playoffs. I don't think the NFL wants to see Kenny Two Gloves in a big-time game again. That's why he's in Cleveland.
He's going to start for the Browns now. Yeah, exactly. We have Tanner McKee. He's going to be great.
You know what the sad thing is? I think Kenny probably will start because I don't know if Shador or Gabriel is going to start right away.
Or Flacco. I'd be down with that. I think it'd be fun.
We're going to run back 2 years ago all over again. Forget the fact that Flacco still threw a shit ton of picks, but he was still good. But
I want to see the Steelers play the Browns. Week 5, I want to see Kenny Pickett start against the Steelers and tear you up against Mason Rudolph. That would be phenomenal.
TJ Watt will tear him up when he freaking sacks him 8 times because the Cleveland O-line is ass. Well, because you mentioned part of the Steelers schedule and you so graciously wanted to talk about your Eagles schedule. I'm talking about mine. I mean, obviously the Vikings game in Ireland. We got a primetime game with Tom Grossi's Green Bay, mother-loving Packers. Packers, Steelers, 2 of the more story franchises. We got another primetime game with the Chargers. I think that's a Monday nighter. And then the NFL again just wants to kill the Steelers in December. We got 4 weeks in a row of the Bills at home at 425, the Ravens, the Dolphins, which they could be better, and then the Lions. That's brutal. Like, how can you? It's not as bad as last year, but it's still rough to do that. And I wouldn't be surprised, no matter what's going on in Pittsburgh, because their receiving room and QB room are disgusting. They'll still probably be around the mid mark and on the fringe of a playoff berth, and then they'll collapse because they're playing these teams because they can't beat the real teams in the league. So, yeah, it's an interesting schedule. I mean, obviously you're the Super Bowl champs, so you're way more optimistic about how you're going to do despite your apparently toughest schedule, but you're the best team in the league, so why does, like, oh, this is the 5th hardest schedule matter? It doesn't. And it doesn't matter how easy the Steelers schedule is because your roster is way better than ours. And I'm willing to humbly admit that because you kicked our ass last year. But
as a reward for being honest, I will quickly go through and tell you your wins and losses. You ready? All right. Start Jets, you'll win that. Let's see. Jets, you win. Seahawks, we'll say you lose. Patriots at New England, you don't do well there. Loss. Steelers, Vikings. Ooh, that's in Dublin. Will you be tired from traveling? Will the Vikings be tired from traveling? Will J.J. McCarthy be good? I don't know. We'll give you a win there, though. Steelers, Browns, you'll probably win that. At the Bengals? Nah, sorry, that's too far in the season. Bengals will have their stuff down. Packers, that's a loss. Colts.
Wow.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe a draw. No, I'll give you the win there. Chargers in LA. I'll give you a loss there. Justin Herbert's gonna clean up. At home versus the Bengals. I'm gonna say the Bengals. I think they bounce back a bit this year. At the Bears. Ooh, the Bears might be good, but I'll give you a loss there.
Don't fall for the offseason champs stuff
We'll
of
see.
the Bears like
We'll
I
see.
did last year.
Well, it'll be in November, so they'll have some more experience. They might be to pull it off. We'll see. Versus the Bills, you lose. Sorry. Versus the Ravens in Baltimore, that's rough. You lose. Sorry. Versus Dolphins at home, we'll say you win that one. Against the Lions in Detroit, sorry about that. Losing that one. Steelers Browns, you'll win that one. And then the last game of the season, you'll pull out some voodoo magic and win to go 8 and.
Mike. You think Tomlin's going to have his first losing record
and then you'll
career.
tank.
It makes so much sense.
Good enough to get a good draft pick. So it's the most Steelers tanking season I've ever heard of. Bad, but not bad enough. And then you have to trade up and do some weird stuff and try and get a good pick and whatever. But yeah.
Well, you know what? Before we get to our list, you want to talk about my record? I'm predicting yours.
All right, go for it.
I'm probably going to pick it pretty good. Cowboys, you win. I'm going to say Chiefs, you lose because the Chiefs will have to pull some voodoo magic, and it's at Kansas City. There'll probably be some PI call that'll be called at the worst time, and Harrison Butker will ruin every female football fan in the world. Kicking a game-winning field goal. Rams, you win, but those games are Eagles-Rams games are fun to watch. I'll tell you that. Bucks are good, but you probably win. Here's my upset. Because I have pretty high hopes on the Broncos. I'm going to say Denver wins because Denver's defense is going to be really good. Giants, enough said. Vikings, I'm going to say you win, but it'll be close because I think the Vikings will be good too. Again, Giants, you really put the Giants pretty close. I mean, just get your wins over with. Packers, close, but you win.
In Green Bay.
I'm going to give the Lions the win here over Philly because I think they'll be more healthy. And I think when they're healthier, I think they can have the edge on them. Cowboys, it's weird because I think you swept them last year, but when you're fully healthy, you usually sweep. But because I don't have high hopes on Dallas, I'm going to say you win. Bears, Eagles, you win. Chargers, man, because that defense is good, but I'm going to say the Eagles. I'm going to say you're going to beat the Raiders. I'm going to say you lose to the Commanders just because for some reason, no matter what, you split every year. Eagles, Bills, I'm going to go with Philly just because Buffalo. I mean, that might be, if everyone's starting, that could be game of the year. But just Buffalo's defense, I can't trust over Philly's. And then final week of the year, I'm going to say the Eagles win. And I have no clue what your record is.
13-4.
I am so professional.
I
can't believe I didn't remember. I think that's perfectly reasonable. I think 13-4 makes sense. So yeah, that's our humble predictions.
Yeah,
so
off the cuff,
Off the cuff. We got one final segment before we wrap up this episode. Quinn, take it away, buddy.
So we're going to do something a little different, not football related, not sports related, but actually it's kind of. But we're going to do some top 5 lists throughout some episodes. Today we had a pretty busy episode with other news and stuff to talk about. So we're only going to do one top 5 list, and this is a NFL top 5 list. But we will also branch out next episode. We'll probably have another NFL and then a random one. I won't give it away, but might have to do with countries, maybe. I don't know. But this week, we're going to start with a top 5 of our favorite players in the NFL right now, and just of recent memory. I've included 2 guys on here that recently retired because I like them. So, but
I was about to ask you, because I don't know if it's cheating too much, but maybe we could do our top 5 favorite Steelers and Eagles. Do we not maybe say we don't include Steelers-Eagles players?
I don't know. I have both included. We can go back through another time and do all-time great Eagles and all-time great Steelers, maybe. I don't know.
I'll probably not include Steelers, but you can include Eagles. I'll just be fair. I know you don't give a shit.
He knows me. But yeah. I'll start off this time. So at number 5, and this was a little betray-ish. I felt a little betrayed by this player, but Aaron Jones. Great Packers player, is a great running back. He went to the Vikings, which, I mean, you get paid where you get paid, but he wasn't a jerk about it. It wasn't like, oh, I hate the Packers. Like, he understood there's business and business gets done. And he went to the Vikings. He's been doing well, but he's still a nice guy. He was great on the Packers. You know, a lot of love and support for that guy out there. So number 5, Aaron Jones. Number 4, he's dropped a bit, but he's still one of my favorite quarterbacks. Aaron Rodgers. Yep.
Kidding me? Oh,
he's kind of weird. He's gotten weird in the past years, which is why I have dropped him. But Dylan's emotionally wrecked. But Aaron Rodgers is just, he's a very good quarterback. He didn't have a great year last year. But he is legendary. His Hail Mary, there's videos of his Hail Marys. It's incredible. He is a funny guy. He just has an enjoyable personality. Obviously, he's weird and his weird retreats.
Enjoyable personality. Okay.
Yeah, it's fun to watch what happens because you're like, I don't know what's going to happen. It's like, oh, that's funny.
You're feeding his ego.
Yeah, but he's a fun guy. I enjoy watching him and just both talent-wise and what he's doing and talking about. So, entertaining guy. Number 3, I have Justin Herbert. Maybe a bit unexpected, but he was also a biology major. I like him kind of coming out of Oregon, his personality, his play style. He seems like a really genuinely nice guy. I like that he doesn't like the media, and like there's videos of him like having somebody else wear his jersey come out and they're like, Justin Herbert, and then it's like his lineman or tight end and they're like, huh? And then you see him sneaking around. He seems like a fun guy and genuinely nice dude. So he's at number 3. Number 2, I have Brandon Graham, the ultimate trash talker. He just retired, but BG is a legend. He's a great guy. He's sticking around the Eagles facility from what I understand. He's just a legend. He was very good in his career, maybe Hall of Fame, I don't know. He got the strip sack on Tom Brady in the Super Bowl, back in Super Bowl 52 or back in 2017. And then he also went up behind him at another game and like grabbed him when Tom Brady was an announcer, and he's like, "Hey, I gotcha." That was fun. But yeah, Brandon Graham, just legend. And then number 1, another Eagles legend, Jason Kelce. He is 2 years retired now, but he's just a great guy, such a personality. He's fun to listen to with the podcast and everything. Just Eagles legend, really great guy. He's my number 1.
All right. I mean, it's a lot of retired players, but yeah, I mean, I respect it. Besides the Rodgers one, I wanted to jump out my deck just saying that crap, feeding his stupid ego. Does anyone notice I don't want Rodgers in Pittsburgh? I don't know if you got the gist of it yet, but
I do. I think that'd be great. No tanking for Pittsburgh. No new quarterback for you. Anyway. Dylan, tell us about your favorite players.
Well, there's going to be no Steelers on my list because
it would be all Steelers if it was.
I just think, too, it's cooler to just have we'll one day have our top 5 favorite Steelers and Eagle players of all time, too. Quinn kind of spoiled his, but my number 5, it's a guy who isn't that relevant in the league anymore because he's a backup, I believe, with the Saints.
Gore.
Nope. It's Jamal Williams. The man who had one of the funnier Sunday Night Football intros ever. He's like into anime. He has the funniest press conferences. Just shame he's on a bad team, but he's still so likable. Yeah, but Jamal Williams is number 5. Another one that's kind of like a backup, but we talked about him plenty of times, and he's so famous on the media. Number 4 is Jameis Winston.
He is great.
That man needs to stay on TV when he officially retires. I mean, it's crazy because in college, I couldn't stand the dude. And when he was first drafted, because he was getting into trouble and he really didn't have, he felt more like an a-hole than like the guy he is today. But I think with age, like he got like nicer, more humble, and he's just so likable. He just is with everything that he's with, like traveling to New Orleans during the Super Bowl, interacting with fans and athletes. He's just, how can you not like the guy? He just has fun. Like I want to have his personality in life. I do. Like I'm jealous that I don't feel the way he does every day. So yeah, he's my number 4. Number 3, I got Justin Jefferson because the dude is electric to watch. Another like likable dude that the kids are just inspired by. And just the gritty obviously is one of the more famous celebrations. Allergies. Have to cut that out. But yeah, Justin Jefferson is just so fun to watch on the field. I was back and forth between him and Jamar because both those receivers, man, there's nothing like them. But I'll get the edge to Jefferson just because of his speed and athleticism. And no matter what quarterback he hasn't had the best track record of quarterbacks, and he has still dominated the game like no other. So I'd have to put him at number 3, I believe. I'm losing track of this list. I'm losing my mind. Number 2, I got Josh Allen, Haley Steinfeld's future husband, fiance. At number 2, give this man a freaking Super Bowl, please. Please, this man deserves one. He's been carrying the Bills franchise for what's been like 5 years now, half a decade. Just can't beat Mahomes, but he's the Peyton Manning to Mahomes' Brady, and he's got to get one over him. Like, if he wants to win the Super Bowl, he has to get past him. But he's likable to me. I mean, the Mahomes hate could be a bit much. I mean, he's done stuff to, like, grant that. But also, too, just Allen's a good dude. He's a bowling ball of a guy. He's just he makes the most mid-wide receiver room so elite. Just because of how good he is. He makes everyone around him better. He makes James Cook better. He changed that franchise. And that franchise is so likable, whether Quinn wants to shit on them because he's a Chiefs fan or not. So, yeah, Allen is number 2, but my most likable player in the league, and I know he's on the despised team. Like, I don't like this team. Quinn doesn't like this team, but he's too likable, and that is George Kittle is my number 1 favorite NFL player that's not a Steeler because the dude loves wrestling. He's a diehard WWE fan, and he's a big fan of a lot of wrestlers. He goes to WrestleManias and shows, and he's like a true fan. But it's not just that. He has an infectious personality. He's one of those dudes that when you walk into the room, no matter what mood you're in, you just smile. You have to have at least a grin on your face when you see him because he's so likable. Got a smoking hot wipe, by the way. So congrats to Kittle. But it just stinks that he's on a team like the Niners that just has the most unlikable fan base, and just they have too much history to really root for them. But I think Kittle is just he would be a guy I would go to a bar and have a beer with out of anybody in the league. He's so likable. His mic'd up is gold. Like he acknowledges like the cameras too, like with the wave. He's just funny. He's just a good dude. So George Kittle is my favorite NFL player, and Quinn deserves sacrilege for having Aaron Rodgers on his list. I will never let go of that.
I mean, if I would have told you that, maybe 2 years ago, you probably would have been like, yeah, he would have been higher on my list, but you've been like,
maybe if you said that after the Joe Rogan interview, maybe I would have been like, it's fine. But
I think that does it for the show.
You're right, Quinn. That does do it for the show of the DQ Frenzy. And we will be posting. We have busy summers, but we will try our best to get it weekly. The episodes won't be as long because we had a lot of news. This is kind of when the NFL season winds down. But that just means, Quinn, the episodes are more fun because we got more lists. We might even bring the tier list into the fray, more top 5s. Anything possible. We're going to get creative here, get our creative minds thinking, a.k.a. me. But where we got chill vibes and cold takes, this is the DQ Frenzy from Dylan Shields and Quinn Schmiedel. Have a good week, everybody. We will see you right back here on the next episode.
Bye, guys.